Hey guys, Monster here bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to talk about Int NAMEK GOKU and AGL Full Power Frieza. There has been a lot of controversy going on in the community with these guys EZAs, because I think to say that these guys were highly anticipated EZAs is probably an understatement. Like, people love these units. People really enjoyed these units when they came out for the worldwide celebration after the 6th anniversary. A lot of people, especially when it came to like the argument for AGL UI Goku being the best unit in the game, a lot of people, you know, that would have bad RNG with his dodging. This was kind of when these units came out, the first two big units that released, that a few people were sort of trying to make the arguments, right, that they were better than UI Goku. So these guys have been very long anticipated EZAs, and unfortunately the general consensus is that they are not very good. I did a video talking about their details when we got the English versions posted, talking about the data download, going over all their details. So I'm going to bring the images up here so we can look at their passives and just kind of go over why these guys are not considered to be so good, and then we'll look at some of the responses and everything from the community. So the Goku, so we start off with key 3, attack and defense 200%, and then 20% damage reduction. As the first attacker in the turn, he gets another 30% damage reduction, so he's going to have 50%. Now the thing is, on turn 1 in slot 1, his defense is not going to be particularly crazy, right? Now, in the older style of events that we've been used to, where events obviously start off not being as hard and then get harder as we go, like this kind of thing is probably not a huge issue, especially with the fact that, like, after receiving an attack, he gets a guaranteed additional super. So, you know, he guards in the first turn as well, which is good. So he'll get hit in slot 1, and then he gets off what, like 3 supers, because he gets a guaranteed additional for 4 turns. He gets the hidden potential as well, so he could potentially do 4 supers, and each of his 12 key supers greatly raise defense, which is an infinite stack. So all in all, that sounds like it's pretty good. The problem is, of course, that we've now, I mean, I haven't watched the videos myself. I've seen people on the comments. I've seen like quotes and screenshots and stuff like that. Of course, now that the private server showcases are out for those that have been done early, which of course created a whole other mess that we'll talk about in a minute. These guys, it does not seem that the stacking, as much as you'd think, like greatly raised defense as an infinite stack and getting a bunch of them off in one turn would be really good. Apparently it takes him quite a few turns in order to stack up to having defense that we would consider good enough for these tough events, because he only has guard for, is it 4 turns? No, 6 turns. After 6 turns, which obviously is only him being on rotation 3 times, depending on your RNG with his supers, his defense is going to be up to, I think people were saying with support and stuff, he can get up to like 2 mil, which obviously now with the difficult content that we have, like, that's not enough for tanking some of these big hits. And by turn 6 as well, right? By the time we get to the end of the anniversary, how hard is the hardest event going to hit? And that's the biggest problem, is even if these guys EZAs were able to handle the current events that we have out right now, but maybe sort of start to struggle a bit towards the end, then the problem is, how are they going to do against the content that's out by the end of the anniversary? Because, like, we got 3 new stages of that Formidable Foes event coming out. We've got 3 new stages coming out for both of the red zones. Assumingly those stages are going to be harder than the ones that came before them. And so these guys have the potential to struggle in those events, which is going to be super unfortunate. Frieza has 20% from the start. Then we have damage reduction that builds up with each attack he receives. As the first attacker in the turn, he has 30%. So he starts off with 50% in turn 1, has guard for 1 turn, but he gets 7% with each hit he receives, up to 20%. So ideally, you want the turn where he gets hit 3 times in slot 1, but because he only has guard for 1 turn. So if you get one of those turns where there are no attacks in slot 1, then, you know, you still want to put him in slot 1 if you can, but it's going to be super awkward. I guess on the very first turn, because he has guard, if there are literally no attacks in slot 1 and then there's 3 attacks in slot 2, You could put him in slot 2. He's going to get the great chance to get an additional super. He's still going to have that guard. The problem with Frieza, of course, is that unlike Goku, he only stacks attack on his 12 key super. So even though he's raising defense when he actually does get his super off, he's not keeping any of it. So then even though you can put him in slot 1, and he's going to have, what, 70% damage reduction when it all said and done, when it's fully built up? 70% damage reduction in slot 1, but he doesn't get a permanent increase to his defense. So he does greatly raise on the 18 key, but it means on the second turn, his defense is not going to have gone up by a particularly significant amount. Hopefully you got hit the 3 times on the first turn, but then if his start of turn defense is only looking at around like 300-400k, with 70% damage reduction. Remember that some of these bosses now, like that STR Kid Buu at the end of the stage 3 of the Formidable Foes, hits for like 4.2 million, and every time you hit him, his attack goes up, right? So 4.2 million, if we take off 70%, that is still 1.2 million. So if Frieza on the second turn has like, even if he has like 500k defense, he's taking 700k from that Kid Buu super. And the way his kit is designed, it seems like he wants to be a slot 1 unit because that's where he gets his extra damage reduction. So these guys, when it comes to the actual difficult content that is coming out, this is where the problem lies, right? It's not necessarily that, you know, if the EZAs drop tomorrow, oh, we can't even beat the stages that are out now. It's the fact that in the hardest stages that are out now, they might actually struggle a little bit. But then once the events get even harder, then what's going to happen to them? So there was this post from Goresh. Obviously, we have the original post here, which is the, after looking over the EZA details, I think both of them are going to be incredibly good, but I expected a little more. They should be able to crush all existing content, but I'm a little nervous for them if we do get crazy event power creep, which is kind of what we've been talking about here, right? And then this one was, I think, like an hour or two later. I don't know if I've ever seen this much disappointment from the JP community over EZAs before. Yeah, people very much not happy with the treatment for these EZAs. A lot of people really wanted these to be, like, you know, the new best EZAs in the game. Because, I mean, these guys are the Worldwide Celebration LRs. Did they follow STR Vegito and Bootanks, or did they do them in the reverse order? I can't remember now, but STR Vegito and Bootanks, when they got their EZAs, were really, really good and really competitive in like the end game content. And people were expecting these guys to be a similar thing, right? Where these guys come out and potentially have arguments for maybe being the best new LR EZAs in the game. Now, maybe the problem is the Namek saga, because we got a couple of tweets from some of the boys here. Shout out to Zed. So, criminal what they did to them. Namek Goku, Full Power Frieza, and then, of course, the Krillin and Gohan and the Vegeta. Let's not even talk about AGL Namek Scouter Vegeta. I don't know what it is that Dokkan has against the Namek saga, I guess, but really unsure as to why Namek saga has been so like woefully under like represented or under buffed in these like celebrations, right? So we have a post here. We say there should be way more backlash for these two. Conformism isn't good. I saw an actual movement when the Zamasu name thing happened. It should be the same here, and then it just says buff them. And this is true, right? With these units in particular, this is kind of what happened. People said they weren't good enough day one. The majority of the community banded together to attack them for being too negative. Now, I won't say it was the majority of the community. And obviously, when it comes to social media, you know, people who have nothing better to do are always going to be mean, for lack of a better word. But yeah, people expressing their thoughts that these EZAs weren't good enough. Were getting jumped like left, right and center by people trying to defend these units. And of course, now that the showcases and stuff have come out, you know, the tides have kind of turned a little bit, and the general consensus that I'm seeing is that even if these EZAs aren't like bad, they're just not good enough, right, for what people would have wanted. And who knows, by the time we get to the end of the anniversary and all of the content is out, maybe they are bad for the hardest fights. It'll be interesting to see. So we got this this post here from our boy Platty. He's a cool guy, posts some cool like unit concepts for EZAs and stuff. He made a tweet. Someone made a post every single time this guy details got posted. He's terrible, please buff him. And someone obviously quoting the picture saying every single time, right? Because people, it is true that people kind of complain about every release, but sometimes, you know, sometimes we're right about these things. And so we have the, I love this GIF. I love the American Office. So yeah, obviously, well, how the turntables. Michael Scott completely fumbling being able to say how the tables have turned, but love The Office, shout out to Play. But yeah, I mean, it does happen, right? There is a bit of negativity every time new units come out, but that does not mean that every time it's not warranted, right? And we got Luca here. No, we're definitely wrong. We didn't wait to see them in game first, because I mean, I do that a lot as well, right? Like when people, if I read an EZA and I think, this happens quite a lot, I'm either secretly really smart or just actually too dumb, but I'll read an EZA thing that comes out and I'll think, oh, these guys seem pretty good, and then a whole bunch of people on Twitter are saying they're actually terrible. So then I just kind of say, well, let's just wait till we see them in the game and see how good they are. And a lot of the time, they turn out to be a lot better than people thought they were. Unfortunately, with Full Power Frieza and NAMEK GOKU, that does not seem to be the case, which is unfortunate. So we also have this funny take from Luca. Super EZA Gogeta is better than NAMEK GOKU. I mean, if nothing else, Gogeta provides support, but I mean, I've used Gogeta in that difficult event, and like I talked about it during his Rainbow Showcase and everything, but like once he gets built up, which he only has to do a certain number of attacks, like post super, this guy's tanking like 3 to 4 million damage supers, and he can get to that level by like his, you know, third appearance, unless you get really bad RNG. So potentially for short burst events, even though this guy Gogeta can't really go slot 1, this take is actually potentially accurate, which is a bit disappointing, right? And this is the thing, Gogeta, we always wanted the Super EZAs for the first anniversary units to be really good, but like these guys, they should be on at least a similar level, at least, right? And with NAMEK GOKU and Full Power Frieza, especially Frieza, like Extreme just doesn't get enough buffs as it is, right? Frieza definitely seems disappointing. I mean, from reading their EZA details, it already seemed to me like Goku was going to be better than Frieza. And that's saying a lot if a lot of people are underwhelmed by this Goku. I also wanted to give a shout out to my boy Sora, because he is a fellow Broly enjoyer. And this this take is, I do think it is him memeing a little bit here. I don't know if he genuinely believes this is true, but man, I thought the Int Broly EZA was super overhated from the worldwide celebration, because I think we got so many really good new units and really good EZAs. He was probably the worst EZA that came out during the worldwide celebration, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he was bad. And we've gotten a lot of events that have been coming out where we do have Goku enemies and stuff like that. Like, he's certainly runnable. So I don't know how I feel about this take in particular, but obviously once the EZAs are actually out in the game, I will do my showcases for them. I try not to in most of these cases. I try not to watch these like private server showcases ahead of time. I like to just be able to form my own opinion from using the unit in game. I think Goku is on the 220 for the Vegito. Potentially he'll be on the 220 for Gogeta as well. So I don't know if this is one of those things, like when it comes to the private server testing, the 220 leads are already out. So it's not a case of like AGL Super Vegito, where people thought his numbers were a bit low, and then of course the new Vegito came out. You can throw him on his team and he can look pretty good. He is still a bit of a risk to run though for supers. Like in that new event that came out, the Formidable Foes, we keep mentioning it, he can tank all the normals in that all day long and hit the counters and everything, but unless his scouter is active or someone else's scouter is active, he's a liability to have in that event, because if he gets hit by a super, he gets killed, right? So he got a bit of a buff by having a 220 lead, but my point being, this Goku already has one. So like the private server showcases that are out for him are already with him on a 220 lead, and people think that he looks underwhelming. So I don't know, it's definitely very disappointing when it comes to these two EZAs that were very, very highly anticipated by the community. Where do you guys stand on these? I know a lot of people, I imagine there are people watching this video, you guys don't really follow too much of what's going on the social media. You don't watch the private server showcases or like watch Dokkan videos on other channels. Or I know a whole bunch of us are all together here in the community with other creators. I know you guys watch other people's videos other than mine, but I do know that some people don't watch the private server showcases and stuff and wait until the units are out in the game. So let me know what you guys think about Goku and and Frieza. Are you disappointed with them? Are you still not really sure you need to see them in game because you don't follow a lot of this stuff? I mean, the thing is, there's a comment underneath this one as well. Like, this is probably true because Buhan is absolutely insane. So this might actually be true. I don't know. But yeah, and then we have this this comment right here. So yeah, we will see how it goes. They have in the past buffed units before their release because of outcry from the community, but I think these EZAs are going to drop as early as tomorrow, or it might be when the part 2 banner comes out actually, because Full Power Frieza is not currently available. Namek Goku's on the Dokkan Fest banner, so Full Power Frieza will be on the part 2 Dokkan Fest banner, so maybe they'll EZA just after the banners come out. But yeah, let me know all your guys' thoughts on Namek Goku and Full Power Frieza down below in the comment section. The community overreacting as usual. Are they good? Are they bad? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.